Hey everyone. So don't mind me squinting. I got the sun directly up here coming down on my glasses. I'm gonna have to deal with it that way. I was trying to set us up a little video here for me and Tiffany to pot up some stuff here with you, but it looks like it's gonna be just me. She's gonna go take a sit down job somewhere. So I may put a little workstation here on the back of my 79 F350. Just let you see my little 79 F350 while we're here. She ain't much. She's a project. Drivetrain's already been redone. Getting ready to put a new clutch in it. New engine's already in it. Got a lot of new parts already bought for her. So, nice steel bed here that's going to make a great workstation. So, today we are up potting some of our heirloom trees that we have grafted. Most of them I think are heirlooms. There's probably a few that's not. So let's see if we get lucky and pull an heirloom on the first one. We do. So this is Gloria Mundi. See it? So that's on G935 Geneva Series rootstock. That is a fire blight resistant rootstock. So we're using our Daddy Pete's nursery blend. They say this is great for flower beds, home plants, vegetables, gardens, trees, and shrubs. I think it's a little bit too woody to be good for your vegetable plants. Is it usable? Probably, but we like it for its consistency, for drainage, and so forth, for potting up our woody plants. So this has, number one ingredient is aged pine bark fines, so that helps with the drainage. And it's got composted cow manure, perlite, and dolomitic lime. This is a certified organic product that we're using for our certified organic trees and so forth. But before we do one of these, here I have trees that should have been up potted last year that we're going to go ahead and knock out this year. So we're just going to loosen these up. These are our tree pots we use. Let's put this aside and loosen it up. See, we got decent root growth. Should have took a little better care of these. They would have done better. But I've got a weed growing right here on the side. So I am going to rip this weed out, and it will damage a little bit of the roots, but I'd rather not have the weed in there. And then here we have some growth. That can't be. So that's coming off the base, so it's coming off the root stock. So we want to get rid of that. This one's on a G41 rootstock, but if I had took better care of this tree would have been twice this tall. I just didn't take good enough care of it. You can see there, see that little red? I think you can see it. So we got a bloom already starting to pop down there in the bottom. Right there. So we're gonna get this. This will probably get planted. This is a maiden blush. And this one will probably get planted here on the farm this year, because let me go through my records, but I don't think I've got maiden blush planted. So we'll start by putting a handful of this in the bottom. Now, if you've got something that drains a little less than what this does, this ain't all of what's in it, but you can see we got some, what I wouldn't quite consider pine bark fines. It's a little bit larger, but there's some of that in there, which in my opinion is what makes it great for this right here. So if you got something, if you're using a soil that doesn't have some of this rough stuff in it, then you're going to want to put like a layer of pine bark wood chips in the bottom, or shredded pine, or something like that. You can use rocks. The problem is the rocks don't do anything for the plant itself other than drainage. The pine bark and your shredded mulch, if it's a soft wood like pine, will break down fairly quickly over the next few years and feed your plant. Rocks ain't gonna do nothing. So anyway, so we'll set our tree in there. Now we want to make sure to look for where our original graft is on this tree, which we can find right here. That's a little higher than I normally do, and I'm sure the reason was because I was trying to match up a rootstock that was going to work very well for me. So we want to bury this tree in here at about the same height that it was in the other pot. Now I'm going to go about 1 inch above where it was in the other pot so that it will have a little room to settle, and then we don't end up with less than what we had. Won't hurt nothing. Going to work real well. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tag and I'm going to lightly bury it right here on top, just barely. That helps with the sun fade. And then I double up and I've got a tag that goes down in the pot that is able to be read also. Now we'll take this and tamp it just a little bit to get it to settle. And then we'll redistribute just a little bit more of this there on the top. So there we go. We have a potted maiden blush. And I've also got over here one I'll be doing momentarily. And this is a Crimson Crisp. So, now we're going to do the same thing but in reverse. This is the small pot, the tree pots we use that we just took that out of. So I'm going to put a little bit of soil in the bottom, just probably 2.5, 3 inches. And then I am going to get the tree we just had. There's our Gloria Mundi. And I want to get them roots down in there so they can grow. I don't want to poke my tree out the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is lightly shake it as I put the soil in. A little bit of tamping. Now we know we got a little bit of cow manure in here, so it's going to feed this a little bit over the season. Now this one I just potted, I will come back, since that's a little bit more mature tree, I will come back and add some fertilizer to that just under the surface. Some of our tree tone is what I'll use. So, there we go. Now I'm going to run over to Tiffany and get some trays to set these in, so hang loose. So Tiffany's back there working. Now, while we buy the tree pots new, these are recycled from our local big box store. So they throw these out, and then they're useless to them. They're just going to be in the garbage. But we found out that our tree pots and some of the other stuff we've got fit in there perfectly. So just like that. Now, the tree pot I just put that in, I have some of here. But when we went to order 2 years ago new stock, those were not available during COVID. And so we got these. They work, there's nothing wrong with them. They just don't have as big of a sure root system in them to give your roots a real good spot to encourage to grow. Now, so I can track, you can do this on a computer if you got a tablet or whatever, but I like using a notebook. It's quick, easy to flip to. But so I can track these. I'll go here in my little notebook. And I'm gonna write 2024 apple grafts. And then I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to write the variety, which we know was Maiden Blush. Oh, sorry. Gloria Mundi. Maiden Blush was the older tree we did. And then I'll come over here and put that it was on G935, which is all I'm doing this year. I didn't do G41 or 214 this year. I only did G935. So, give you one more and I won't bore you with this. So maybe you can get a view of a different variety. Trash in that one. That's what happens when they sit around. So, a little bit of soil in there. There's a good one. So let's do this Kids Orange Red. Now you'll see this pot we got it in. Nothing special. And we just stuck these down into some water so that they wouldn't dry out. Don't want to leave them in water. That's not good for them. Get them up potted. But while I'm grafting, I don't want them to dry out. And that's the easiest way for me to deal with it is to stick them in a pot. So this is, if you can see it, this is Kids Orange Red. We got several of them on the farm. We specialize in old heirloom apples. So if you're looking for one to add to your orchard, or 12, give us a holler. We didn't do a whole lot this year. We're going to have around 60, 70 trees for sale. Usually we have a couple of hundred, but we had a lot going on this year, so we cut back on trees. Now don't leave your soil sitting outside where stuff can blow in it, because you're just adding weed seeds to what you're doing. So there we go. We got another one potted. Now I'm going to take this tag. I need to fix that other one too. And I'm going to move this down the tree. It keeps it from getting wind whipped as much on this young tree. And it also will help it to not bear on the wind. Will help use that as kind of a something to flip with. So, all right, so there we go. That's done. Except I need to put it in my book. So I'm going to show you one more as soon as I write that in my book. This is a little bit different. So, Kids Orange Red on G935. So now I've got, I'll pull out here a multi-graft tree. If I can get it to come out. So this is older rootstock that was out in the yard. This is a G935 that we let grow out. And I have done 3 grafts on the top of this. So I've got a few of these this year. So this is going to be multiple trees. And I want to remove, if you can see here, I've got, that is pushing some buds here. And I could technically leave the buds for now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and remove them. So this tree's got some height to it, and that's intentional. I wanted my tree structure to start up here at the top. So you can't quite see that, but you can see it's right here at the top of the camera at my hand. So we've got about 2.5 to 3 feet, so around 32 inches roughly off the ground. And that's going to be excellent for giving you something you can mow under. So thought I would use some cool varieties from around the farm. A golden russet, a little bit more known, but still very rare. And an old-fashioned limber twig. Wow, I mean, it's just something that you just love to have in your backyard. And then I've got a Morgan apple. So the Morgan I don't know much about, and I can tell you that this particular one that we have has not fruited for us yet because we've only had it for 3 years, but it should fruit this year. So I'll probably get to taste my first Morgan apple this year. So let's see if this pot is big enough. And these are, just so you'll know, this is what they call a 600 nursery pot, which I think is what they consider 1 gallon. And yes, that's going to work just fine for what we're trying to accomplish here. I may go ahead, I've got a larger pot over here, I may put it in a larger pot just because that's tall and it'll give it the ability to hold itself down just a little bit. Let me grab this bigger pot. So this is a 2000 series, what they call a classic 2000. This is a used pot that I already had a tree in. So this is going to take up a lot of my soil. But I think this bigger tree needs a little more to work with. So there we go. We'll get it packed in there like that. Get our tree in here. Try to center it. We want to give these roots plenty of room to grow in this tree, this pot. Somebody may buy this fall, but we may have this one for a year or two because it's kind of specialty with a triple graft. Sometimes they sell really fast. Sometimes I sell every one of them before I can even hardly think about it. So it just all depends upon what people are looking for. Now I'm burying this one a little bit deeper. It won't hurt nothing. It should put out a good root system for us. So I'm putting about another 4 inches, since it's a young tree, another 4 inches of this underground. I've done that plenty of times before. You don't want to do that for a tree you're planting usually, because you can end up with a little bit too much moisture that could cause you to have some rot issues on the bark. This is going to be well drained in this pot. So there we go. We're all potted up. That's probably a 2.5 gallon pot, I would imagine. I'm not an expert on those things. All right, guys. So let's do some reviewing, and then I'll offer you a couple of tips. So, review is a good quality woody shrub blend, and we use the nursery blend from Daddy Pete's. It's a full organic. It works great. I have blended my own before, and that worked great too, but it is a lot of work. So that, something good container to work with if you want to sit on the ground and pour everything out on a tarp or whatever. I like to either sit in a chair or stand, as long as my back will take it. I got lower back issues, so do what I can. Get you a good nursery pot. Now, I will advise you, if you're at home and you're just grafting 12 trees or less, maybe even 20 or less, get you these gallon and a half size containers. I think this is a gallon, and use them, because they do use a little more soil. But if you're just using a few trees, that's not a big deal. For us, it's not even as much the soil. The soil is a big deal because it raises the cost of the tree. But for us, the big thing is space. If I graft out a couple of hundred trees, we have grafted as high as 700 or 800. If I graft out a couple of hundred trees, then we start taking up a lot of space, versus the truck bed of this truck will hold the 100 and some I'm doing this year. We bought 100 rootstock, so we're doing about 80 of those. I sold the rest, used them in a grafting class we did, and a couple of grafting classes we've done this year. And if you're interested in that, we'll do one again next year. But we sold some, so we left about 75, 80 rootstock, roughly, maybe 85. But I had some rootstock that we had planted from last year that we didn't graft, and some root sucker growth off of some M111s. So we're using those to do some grafts. And so I'll be doing a couple of hundred grafts this year. So I can almost fit all those on the bed of this truck. Versus if I put them all in this size container, well, now we're taking up the spot. I can put 4 trees in the spot of 1. And then even that 2.5 gallon container, I could put 6 trees in the space of 1. So for us, it's space. We got 6.3 acres here on our little certified organic farm, but we're raising organic chickens for eggs, for eating eggs, and we're getting ready to get back into hatching eggs. We're got a couple of greenhouses already, a couple of small greenhouses. We got 1 tomato high tunnel that was put up last year. We got another high tunnel that's getting ready to be finished. We got another one we'll be buying this year, and thank you to a grant. And then we have a little Farmer's Friend 14 by 100 that we grow in. So by the time you get all this stuff on the farm, including the barn and structures, the space goes quick. So we got to be creative. Not to mention, we have 450 to 600 trees in the ground. And so we got to watch our space. And it helps us to compete, because what we do is expensive. And we sell these in our Sure Pot for about what most of your online nurseries, your quality online nurseries, sell their bare root trees for. So most of your quality online nurseries that don't require you to buy quantity, buy a lot, are going to sell you a tree for $39 to $79 a piece. And we sell these for $49 a piece. They're certified organic, and that gives it a little better for the people out there. So we're right there in that medium price point. If we started putting this much soil in it, 1, it would get harder to ship, and 2, it'd be harder to store, and then 3, we'd use too much soil. So, all right. So the tip I want to give you is for moisture control, to help hold that little bit of moisture in. When you fill your pot, leave you room to put some mulch on it, and then put you about an inch layer of mulch on there, even 2 inches in the top of that pot. That'll help shade that soil so the water doesn't transpire as fast. It helps you lock in that moisture and gives you a little bit more room for error. Okay, guys, I'm going to see if Tiffany will come over here and say goodbye before we get off here. And we're going to get to work here. We got a lot of trees to do and a lot more work to do this evening. So let's see if Tiffany will grace us with her presence. And if she will, if not, I'm just going to get off here without her. But, you know, she's part of the team, so even though she's over there for a sit-down job, we would like to see her on the video. So, I don't think she's gracing us with her presence. What? I said we wanted Tiffany to grace us with her presence before we shut the video down. You know, you are part of the team. She's probably got a lot more done than I have since I've been talking, so...
Bag.
Oh, she's bragging. She's bragging that she's ahead of me.
My pot's almost done, so yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you. Hey, if you haven't liked and subscribed, like and subscribe to our videos. We would really appreciate it. Watch our videos. Share our videos. We need to get our time up on it. We're not quite in a good enough ranking of YouTube to keep these videos out, and we'll try to keep bringing you some quality content. Thank y'all. See you later.